After the intergalactic war, we get introduced to Saki Tenjuin, a popular and rich student admired by everyone. On her way in, she notices Lala garnering a lot of attention, and as the days go by, she feels that her place is threatened as Lala keeps getting more attention, leaving Saki unnoticeable, causing her to believe that Lala is trying to provoke her. As such, Saki has her 2 bodyguards send a written message to Lala, challenging her for the title of Miss Seinen in a swimsuit contest. Outside the school, Saki already has the stage prepared and while waiting, shows off her swimsuit. Elsewhere, Lala and Paik discuss the message she got with Zastin, who believes it might be an assassination attempt. Thus, he asks to see the message, only to find it chewed by Lala's invention. Nevertheless, back at the contests, Seki becomes frustrated and waiting for Lala, so she declares herself the winner. However, the audience is not satisfied. Eventually, she hears that Lala has a fiance, so Saki comes up with a plan to draw her out. Thus, Saki has Aya take Rito hostage by using a crane and takes him to her to sussy touch her, thereby claiming him hers unless Lala shows up. Rito, however, is not up with the idea, especially with Haruna watching. Lala then actually shows up with Zastin running into Saki, where she yells at Lala for what happened, and her invention exposes her to everyone, causing her to run away, leaving Lala clueless what's going on. After school, Ada finds out that Lala might have a secret, unaware that she's an alien, and reports to Saki, who plans on finding out what the secret. At night, Saki and her bodyguards try to sneak in Yuki's house to discover the secret. However, they trigger a trap that Zastin had put in beforehand, causing both Rin and Aya to flee the house, leaving her behind alone. She then tries to escape but falls into a trapdoor oddly connected to Rito's room. When Lala is about to enter the room, Saki hides under the desk with a camera ready, but she accidentally presses a button that ejects the whole room into the sky. Now terrified and confused, she pops out and asks Lala what's going on. Meanwhile, Zastin and the headhunters on a ship to stop the capsule, but Lala accidentally shoots missiles at them and flies off even faster, causing Saki to fall off the house. Lala then jumps out to save Saki, who just ends up fainting. Now waking up in the middle of a street, a disoriented Saki wonders if everything was just a dream. Upon regaining her senses surrounded by a crowd of men, Saki realizes that she's missing things. Embarrassed, Saki blames Lala again for public humiliation and begins to continually hate her. Back in space, Zastin and his subordinates detect something heading towards Earth, so he decides to leave the situation to Rito. It then lands on the roof of Seinen High, revealed to be an alien in desperate need to use the toilet. The alien, known as Gibri, sniffs the school in search of Lala, where he finds her in a classroom dissecting frogs. As she wonders the point of the lesson, Bree notices how close Lala is with Rito and realizes that he is her fiancé, but also notices how he looks at Haruna, figuring out that he has feelings for her. The principal then comes toward Bree, so he transforms into his look-alike and knocks out the principal and hides him away. During lunchtime, Bree comes in the classroom and orders Haruna to come with him, where he also tells Sariyama to tell Rito of what's happened. Meanwhile, on the roof, Lala continues to chase Rito to dissect him, but Sariyama comes in and tells him that the principal took Haruna to the sports shed. Rito then leaves Sariyama to occupy Lala, so he lets her dissect him instead. On the other hand, Rito finds Haruna tied and being grouped by tentacles, where the principal reveals his alien form and tells him to leave Lala, so he can marry her and become the successor to the Deviluke throne. Luckily, Lala gets tired of waiting for Rito, so Paik tells her that she might have been deceived, but Lala believes otherwise. As such, Lala summons an invention to trace Rito, where it leads her into the girls' locker room sniffing for other girls. Back at the sports shed, Bree continues to warn Rito to cancel the engagement or else he will sussy torture Haruna further. Rito obviously gets mad and begins yelling at him, but Lala manages to find him and she instantly recognizes Bree. Now getting serious, Bree turns into his monster form to scare them, but Chad Rito attacks him as distraction for Lala to take Haruna away. However, Bree gets scared, but he acts like nothing happened, so Rito scares him again, causing him to turn into his true form. Paik then explains that he's a Balkan and weak alien race but able to shapeshift. Bree then tries to escape but is stopped by his wife, who reveals that he has tricked women into marriage all over the universe. Still, Lala calls another one of her inventions to flush them all away into space. Meanwhile, in space, Zastin is enjoying a bath only to be ruined as Bree and his family get teleported there. Back on Earth, Haruna wakes up in front of Lala, who tells her that she passed out due to anemia and that it was Rito who saved her. On the other hand, Rito also forgot that he left the principal tied up in the shed, while his friend falls into a crater. The next day, while Rito is running late, he encounters a girl in a boy's uniform. He then tells her to hurry up to school, but she doesn't seem to mind. Later, Outside Singen High School, someone notes that she's here, revealing the same girl from earlier is a transfer into Rito's class named Renelise Julia. Somehow, all the girls take a liking to her boyish looks, so he goes to Lala and claims her as bride. However, Sariyama interferes and asks how he knows Lala, so Ren shows a picture of them as kids, so Lala remembers him as her childhood friend. Ren then explained that they had such a great time together that she promised to marry her if she became a man. As such, he tries to prove he's better than Rito in pointless challenges. But despite all his efforts, Lala has no care at all for him and his games. Meanwhile, Rito starts to think that if Lala were to love Ren, they would go back into space and he can now be with Haruna, but then snaps out of it when Ren comes along. Suddenly, someone accidentally pushed Ren, causing him to kiss Rito, much to their disgust. Afterwards, Ren asks advice on how to become a man, but receives very odd suggestions where he mixes them together, so Lala ends up saying he looks funny. Afterwards, Ren comes across a theater playing a movie called Man, so he goes to see it. After the movie ends, Ren is moved and inspired to become a man by reenacting the movie in his own way. Over time, Ren somehow has become famous, so Rito advises Lala to tell him that he has become manly enough before it becomes too much, but Ren believes he has not become a real man yet. He continues his training by completing impressive feats like going up against the Western Japanese gang, climbing a frigid mountain to fight Bigfoot, and wrestling anyone where he manages to pull through. Adult Ren then completes a 120-mile run for his final trial, and when finished, he accidentally sneezes and turns back into a girl, the same girl Rito met in the beginning. It turns out that Ren's alien race is a Memorizine, who are able to change gender with certain triggers. Thus, Lala concludes that a girl cannot be manly at all. The next day, Lala awaits Rito at school, but he takes too long, so she uses a magnet invention to bring him in faster. Unfortunately, he was using the bathroom. Ren then comes in and hugs Rito after she somehow fell in love, so she tried to kiss him, but he's able to escape. Meanwhile, Sasaki and her friends come in declaring they want a rematch with Lala, otherwise she will take Rito from her. However, Kotagawa Yu steps in, but no one cared. Ren then tries to kiss Rito again, but she sneezes and transforms. As such, Yu then begins to keep an eye on Rito, believing that he is the cause of all things sussy. Now determined to perfect the school, she gets the disciplinary committee to enforce rules onto the student body. However, some girls are displeased like Lala, so she grabs her almighty tool to fix skirts only for Yu to confiscate it. However, it activates, turning her uniform into a more revealing version. Thus, Yu uses the principle to punish Rito by forbidding him to make any contact with girls for 2 weeks. He's then guarded inside a classroom to not go anywhere near any girls, which finally gives the other boys a chance to talk to Lala. Afterwards, just when Yu believes that she has cured the immoral school, sussy things continue to happen. Nevertheless, Yu follows Rito after school to find out if he's really the cause. However, she notices how wrong she was when finding out about his selfless actions, and she even joins him to help a lost girl find her mom. After seeing what a kind person Rito is, Yu gains feelings for him, so she apologizes to him and removes his punishment. Elsewhere, Lala gathers some friends together to cheer up Rito and uses her magnet invention to bring him in, causing Rito to run out of control, while also accidentally taking Yu with him, causing all sorts of mishaps. The next day at school, Lala goes to say hello to Yu, but accidentally bumps into Rito, causing Paik to fall off, leaving her in a compromising position. Yu then shouts at him and leaves him with another sign saying worthless, much to his chagrin.